Well, I've unlocked every single weapon in Wild Hearts, including, finally, a morphing weapon. Is this going to be my new switch axe? Well, I certainly suck at it like the switch axe. Welcome back, Classy Crew, to a third journal of Wild Hearts. I finally completed Chapter 1. I've had my Zora Magdaros fight. I've unlocked my equivalent of a switch axe, and I suck at this game. If there's one thing that this game is reminding me is what it was like to play Monster Hunter World in my first playthrough. I don't know what happened this last stream, but I just struggled so much. I couldn't fight anything. I'm at the point where the monsters are punishing me. I'm hearing my character's stupid scream go. I'm trying to gulp, I'm getting hit, I'm trying to do hits, I'm trying to charge things. Nothing is working, and I'm trying to build walls and I have no thread. I'm always out of thread. I'm just overwhelmed by this game's mechanics, and I don't know what went wrong because I was having a relatively but like comfortable time in the first part of the first chapter, the first 3 monsters, maybe the first 4, and something just happened recently. Maybe I wasn't in the right mindset, maybe I don't know what it was, but things just stopped working. So the first monster that I took on this past week is a grit dog, or as I like to call the angry beaver. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be like, it's not a beaver, but the first thing I thought of was that it looked like a beaver. It's furry like a beaver, it's chunky like a beaver, it's got a fat tail like a beaver, but it's not flat. That's the only big difference. Now, this thing is where it started to go wrong, because I just couldn't dodge this no matter what I was doing. It either threw its body, it chased me, I tried to put a wall up, it broke through my wall. I was trying to heal, and it would like spawn this like gunpowder stuff under me, and crystals would come out of the ground hitting me and then I'm trying to like get out, and then he like just sends another like barrage of black crystals at me, sending me screaming again. Oh, the spring, it failed me. There's another part where he like gets into like angry drum bang on my belly kind of thing, and this makes zero sense, by the way. How does a beaver banging on his belly pull you in like a gravitational pull? This is probably the one, now that I'm explaining it and talking about it, just makes zero sense. And like everything else is kind of built into some kind of reality, but this, how does it make sense? Because he's so big, he now has a gravitational pull. That takes me back to those 90s mama jokes. Your mama's so fat that, you know, she has her own gravitational orbit. No, I don't think people make mama jokes anymore. I tried so many things and it wasn't working. And plus, every fight you always unlock this like Karakuri thing. I unlocked, what was it? A lantern of some kind? I cast the lantern. I get the lantern. Nothing happens. I have no idea what this lantern does or what it's supposed to do. So anyways, I killed the big beaver, and that triggered the final boss, or the final story bit of Chapter 1, which is the fight with an Earthbreaker. It's a big bear that looks like a Zora Magdaros, or I mean a mountain. It looks like a moving mountain. So looking forward to see what this fight was all about. Was happily surprised to see that you started off with a cannon in your hands, which is something I hadn't seen in this game or the trailers. I didn't really know that this was even a thing you could do in the game. So shooting him was like, oh, I'm all about this. Let's shoot him with the cannon. But then it became very repetitive, very fast. It doesn't attack you for the most part. You just sit there looking for the glowy bits, and you just hold the shoot button. You just go boop, boop, boop. You don't even have to move. You don't have to like move too much. And then maybe once a minute, maybe once every 2 minutes, he might do something at you. So it kind of takes the threat away of this moving mountain, and you're just kind of there shooting at it. The next part is cool. So at one point, I guess you do enough damage and you have to get into another position, and like all the villagers set up all of these like wire string things that you get to like move around the map really quick. It's a great way that the game can show you, hey look, if you actually like set up traversal properly, you can move around this map very efficiently. I like that. I love moving around really quickly. And when all that was good, but then you make it to the final part, the third phase, which is you fight it face to hands. And I was so confused at this part. I didn't know what to do. I didn't think that my sword should hit the pile of rocks that is its hands. So the first thing is I tried to climb on it. You can't climb on it. So the next thing, I ran around and I saw all this artillery behind me. I was like, aha, just like the Zora Magdaros, you got to use the artillery. Nope, that's just there for decor. You're supposed to use your weapon and hit the hands like a classic Nintendo boss that's a head and 2 hands. It was such a disappointment. I feel they could have done so much more given the creative nature of this game, given that you can build things. There's so much they could have done, but they opted for smack its hands like an old school game boss. Just disappointing. So that happened. With the chapter over, I was able to unlock the final weapons. At least I think they're the final weapons. Now I have a total of 8 weapons. I'm pretty sure they're not going to introduce new weapons later on. And what's great is I had no idea these weapons were even in the game. So the 3 new weapons I've unlocked are the claw blade, the cannon, and the karakuri staff. I really had no idea these things were here, so I had no idea what to even think about them. So the claw blade was really fun. I tried all of them in the training dummy, and I've only tried the karakuri staff on a kimono. So the claw blade, love the concept of this. First of all, I love how it looks. I love the speed of it. I love that you can hook it into the monster and there's a string and you can pull yourself in at any time. It's very like Spider-Man-esque. So after that, I took the cannon to see what it was about. Cannon is way too slow for my style. I get that it's all about, when I saw what it was about, it's all about setting up for the frickin' Kamehameha Blast, which is, what is the, whoa. Okay, that's the setup. That's why you play cannon. It's really cool. I respect people that can do it, but it's just not for me. So the karakuri staff was the last weapon, and this is the one that morphs, so I figured this was the closest thing to a switch axe or a charge blade, which are the types of weapons I'm attracted to in Monster Hunter. So I'm like, this is going to be cool. And it's so unique in that it's like 4 to 5 different weapons. You've got like the staff, you've got like a staff with a blade, nagi, whatever it's called, the blade on the staff. It goes into a massive shuriken. You can like morph it into, I think, like 2 little blades, if I remember, like 2 like little knives or something. And then you can also morph it into a massive sword, like a great super duper sword, greatest of great swords. That I loved. Favorite great sword there. I got the hang of it. I'm like, okay, you morph, you attack. Every time you like glow orange, hit right trigger so that you like charge up your morph gauge. Morph gauge is charged. You pull out the greatest of great swords and off you go. So I'm like, all right, let's take this for a fight. So the next kimono that was available was the Spore Tail, which I was like, all right, let's give this a try. Oh, it's asleep. It attracts a ton of like little mice thing that all put you to sleep. There's one thing Wild Hearts does really well that I think Monster Hunter could learn from, is the swarm of monsters. So like when you are fighting the raptors, there's usually only 2 or 3 that are there to cause trouble, and it's really manageable. Here I think it summons like 5 minions, and as soon as you clear it, it just brings 5 more, so you're constantly dealing with a flood of enemies, which is super intimidating. And when I was trying to fight this thing with the karakuri staff, I just couldn't pull out combos, and I couldn't build my morph gauge, so I could never pull out the greatest of great swords. And so the whole thing was a mess. I was falling asleep, I was getting knocked around by a stupid rat, and then the little rats were munching on me. And then to top it all off, I figured, let's take on a Lavaback of all things, because I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't have any troubles last time with that. And it's a Lavaback, but in the first level. And this just highlighted how much the levels really do matter. I struggled so much on the Lavaback in the first level because there's so many artifacts and like things that get in your way, and I complained about this in probably the first journal, I think, where I just don't like that map. It's a beautiful map to like travel around. It's a terrible map to fight on. The second map gives you so much more breathing room. It's so much better to fight on. I love the second island. So putting the Lavaback in that first map, oh my. I heard my main character scream so many times. I hate that scream. It really makes me hate it when I can't dodge. So the whole thing was just, I came out of that stream defeated. Like, this is hard. This is hard. I'm gonna need to like polish my skill. I need to learn these things. And this is how I felt a lot in the early Monster Hunter World days when I didn't know how to use my weapon properly. I didn't even use sword mode on the switch axe for the longest time. So I'm seeing the similarities. The veteranness of Monster Hunter is not carrying over to the Wild Hearts as much as I would have liked. Also, I gotta talk about the karakuri that comes from the Spore Tail. You get a star bomb, which is pretty cool. However, also I didn't get to pull it off too much. It's basically like a big mine, and so it blows you and the monster if you're close to it, so you have to be quite careful in how you lay that up or lay it out for the monster. Then the only other things I have to mention, so once you finish that level, you get like some builders, some craftsmen to the village, and now they can like build out the village, build out the defenses, do all these things. That's a mechanic I'm going to enjoy exploring more. I haven't had the chance to see really what I can do with this, but building up the village, love that idea. And I also learned that my dragon pits were not upgraded, so these things can be upgraded from your main menus. And when I figured that out, I upgraded all the ones on my first map, and it just gives you more resources and more the ability to build more things around the map, so that's going to be very helpful. But overall, I am struggling right now with just skill. I can't use any of my weapons effectively with the Karakuri. Like, I'm just not fluid enough. I'm also just suffering from constantly using my thread inefficiently, so like using the wrong Karakuri, not ever having enough Karakuri. So resource management is an issue. So all of this I think has given me pause and being like, you know what, this is the time to put this game, I think, on hold. I'm going to be putting Wild Hearts on the back burner for a while and actually cleaning up my old pledges. This game isn't going anywhere for a while. I want all of you to have more time to play the game, join me where I'm at in my journey. And I always like to play the games this community has already played so we can really talk about it together. Right now I feel there's too many people either waiting for a sale, haven't gone into Wild Hearts, and so I'm going to put this on the back burner. We're going to tackle some other old pledges like the Devil May Cry pledge and another game I promised to tackle a while back called Dragon's Dogma. So I want to play on those, and then by the time the content drip of Wild Hearts is done, I can come back and really focus on getting good at it and finishing the game. I'm not rage quitting. I'm just feeling like I want to put this game on pause for now. I've gotten a taste for it. I've gotten my first impressions out of the way. I do enjoy the game. I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to finish it. But let's go play these older games that I've been curious about and that I pledged to do long before Wild Hearts. So join me on those journals or on those streams over on twitch.tv/HeyJayOfficial. And otherwise, I'll see you on the next journal. Until next time, keep it classy.